There is a really big difference between talking and communicating. And in this video, I'm going to share 8 of the most common blocks to communication in couples therapy that I'm constantly bumping into and the antidote to them so that you don't have to fall into these communication traps, because these blocks are the things that get in the way of connection, deeper communication, and emotional intimacy. But first of all, think back to a time when you felt truly emotionally close to someone in a conversation. You know, the types of conversation where words flow seamlessly, the connection is powerful and palpable, and then compare it to an experience where you felt completely the opposite. You might have felt frustrated, misunderstood, maybe like it was talking to a brick wall.
And then she said to me, "You know what the problem with you is, Barbie?" What the fudge, Ken? Are you even listening to me?
My philosophy is that meaningful communication is about giving someone the gift of being truly understood. And in order to understand someone, we have to know how to listen, sure, but we also have to break some of the really bad habits we picked up along the way that really block that experience you're trying to give someone of understanding them. So stay tuned, because the last one is the one that you least expect to shut a conversation down. My name's Oliver, and I'm a marriage and family therapist here in Los Angeles, California, and I love helping people grow great relationships. And one of the things that I seem to be doing a lot is helping people communicate. So I put together a PDF of some of the main tools, activities, and exercises all together in a PDF that I call the 7-Day Relationship Rescue Kit. And you can download it now from my website. I'll make sure the link is in the bio. Fixing things doesn't sound like it should be a block to communication, but it absolutely is.
I am having such a hard time at work.
What about a massage or acupuncture? We feng shui your office. What about cryotherapy? What else is there?
Fixing things or offering solutions is a way of managing your anxiety, because you're upset hearing someone talk about whatever it is they're talking about. You're agitated because you don't like seeing them struggle. So we offer solutions to soothe our own anxiety down. And sometimes people don't want solutions. They just want to be heard. Sometimes they want to be held, sure. Sometimes they just want a hug. But you can't assume that you know. So the best thing to do there is ask. Do you want to be heard? Do you want to be hugged? Or do you want to be helped? Diverting is a really great block, and it's any politician's superpower. They have this brilliant way to divert any conversation away from the person, asking them a question or talking to them, and flipping it into whatever is on their agenda.
Barbie, I felt ignored when you were on your phone all night.
Speaking of phones, I can't stop watching that fight scene in K-pop Demon Hunters.
And we all do this to varying degrees, especially when we feel anxious or attacked or uncertain. So the antidote to this is to listen to learn. If there was an exam on the subject, you would ask questions, you would probe deeper, you would try and get more data. You wouldn't change the subject to talk about what you had for breakfast. Sometimes it's helpful to imagine that you are really studying what the person is saying, really focusing, giving them all your attention. I do this every day, and it is exhausting and it is draining, but it is something that you can learn. And don't forget, if you want more tools like this and more tips on how to communicate effectively in a relationship, you can download the 7-Day Relationship Rescue Workbook. It's totally free and contains some of the exercises, tools, and activities that I share with couples all of the time here in my private practice. Judging might seem like a really obvious block to communication. It's essentially inserting your opinion or your thoughts into a conversation when someone is trying to be heard or understood or seen in some way. So at the very best, this is not something the person speaking wants to hear, and at worst, can be really shaming.
Barbie, I just needed a little pick-me-up today, so I bought this new outfit for the pool.
Bold choice, but kind of smells a bit like midlife crisis at Coachella.
So at the very best, this is not someone the person speaking really wants to hear, and at worst, it can be quite shaming. In either case, it will absolutely shut the conversation down and block meaningful communication. So be careful what opinions and judgments you're inserting into a conversation. Preferably, just listen. Now, there might be a time and a place for your input, so it's not like you have to swallow it down and you never get a chance to be heard. It's probably more about timing. So choose your moment before you offer it, and maybe ask, hey, do you want my thoughts on this? A really obvious block to communication is name calling. And we can get caught up in this in a playful way, teasing or jesting or whatever you call it, But it can also be mean, like calling someone a complainer or accusing them of something or just flat out calling them a rude word.
Sometimes I feel like people just play with me and then toss me aside.
Ken, you are just being so sensitive.
No matter what the spirit of your comment is, I guarantee it will shut the speaker down and they won't be able to continue trying to explain whatever it is that they're talking about. So whatever comes out of your mouth should either encourage more conversation with the goal of trying to learn more about what it is that they're saying, or it should be a reflection of what you're understanding. But any name, even if it is, oh, you're being silly, that's not either of them. There's a block that I see a lot called preaching, and this is my word of warning if you happen to be a parent, because parents fall into this trap when trying to connect with their teen or tween.
Ken, I just feel like no one at work respects me.
You know, when I was working at the Barbie Dream HQ in 1992, I learned that respect is something you earn, not given.
It's really important to remember that sometimes your child doesn't want the lecture or the piece of life advice or your life experience when you were having a similar situation. And yes, even though it's in the parent's job description to help guide your kids to create teaching moments, sometimes they just don't want it. Preaching is a combination of diverting the conversation onto you, offering advice, fixing it, and possibly some judgment too. The experience someone has when they're trying to share something important to them, only to have the other person, the listener, start preaching, is like being dropped or abandoned. If it keeps happening over time, that person is much less likely to come to you and talk about anything. I mean, why would they? They're not going to be heard and you're only going to talk about yourself. One of my favorite blocks to communication is called grilling. It sometimes happens when we let our anxiety get the better of us. Instead of just sitting back and listening, we start peppering with a series of rapid fire questions.
I feel like I've forgotten to do something.
Did you finish that report? Did you call your mom? Did you reapply sunscreen?
Now, in theory, these questions might enhance the conversation, but I usually find that this is another block. And it shuts people down. It stops people from telling you everything. It's like they don't quite get a word out edgeways with all of the questions, so give them space to talk. It can also feel like a trap if there's a barrage of questions, especially if you're trying to get a specific answer. Or it can just make people feel shame or embarrassed. If you're asking questions about what they should have done, could have done, and what have they tried, it kind of puts them in a bind when really they're trying to tell you their emotional experience. Any questions you ask should be thoughtful. Think about them before they come out of your mouth. They should deepen the conversation. They should be expansive, like, how did that make you feel? Or tell me more. Rapid fire, closed questions that only need one word answers like yes or no doesn't open things up. It doesn't deepen things, and it certainly doesn't get into feelings. Diagnosing is literally my worst habit as a therapist when I'm not being a therapist. I sometimes just can't help myself and make an interpretation or push someone to go a little bit deeper or tell me about their feelings or their mummy and daddy issues. But my friends really don't want me playing therapist when we're out at dinner.
Barbie, do you ever feel a bit empty inside?
Clearly, the prompt they used to generate you didn't include emotional intelligence.
So be careful if you're diagnosing people, because it really does shut the conversation down. I think that's because it's got an element of judgment and superiority to it, which is not going to land well because someone's talking to be understood, not judged or told about their blind spots or your opinion of what's wrong with them. So this is a bit of an obscure block to communication because it feels like you're offering support, but rushing in to offer assurance to someone may not have the effect that you want.
I ruined dinner again. I feel like such a failure.
Well, at least we know the smoke alarm still worked.
Now, it's fundamentally not a bad thing, but it can also be perceived as minimizing or dismissive. If I'm telling you about my feelings and you're like, oh, it'll be okay, or look on the bright side, doesn't really feel to me that you're interested. Even if you are, it could still be perceived as you saying, stop whining and pull your together. It makes it very hard to continue opening up with too much assurance too quickly or just not enough space to talk openly. The antidote to this is perhaps asking, are you wanting my reaction? Do you want me to listen more? What do you want here? And let them kind of dictate what it is that they want from you. I really wish we were taught things like this in high school. I mean, literally, the world would be a much better place if we knew how to understand each other and communicate and listen to each other. And don't forget, if you want more tools like this and more tips on how to communicate effectively in a relationship, you can download the 7-Day Relationship Rescue Workbook. It's totally free and contains some of the exercises, tools, and activities that I share with couples all of the time here in my private practice. And if you're in Los Angeles or California and you're looking for a couples therapist, schedule a free consultation call with me. I'd be happy to see if we could work together and tell you more about how I work, and I can answer your questions about couples therapy.